Hello, Facebook friends. And if you're calling in, or watching the replay, throw a hashtag replay on LinkedIn, YouTube, maybe even Twitter. Hello, I'm Terry James. It's great to be here with you. Going to go live in Clubhouse rooms as well. Start in the room. Hello, Clubhouse friends. Terry James here for another daily dose. Today's topic, Omicron, have we had enough? What is happening to our mindset with what's going on? We're not being told to stay at home. Other people are telling us to be mindful. Maybe we should stay at home. And of course, then what happens in between? Well, it kind of feels a lot like lockdown. Right, get rid of the hat. Get rid of the glasses. Hello, Facebook. Hello, anyone that's jumping on. Hello, Club Room. So we had enough. We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about spirituality today. And we're going to talk about what affects this, all that's going on in the media at the moment is having on us. Myself personally, the last few days have been energetically a little bit of a struggle. Reason being, we've had the winter solstice. Anybody knows about spirituality and about the solstice and about daylight and winter warming and all this kind of stuff, has its toll on our bodies. Also, we had lunar new moons and portals and this kind of energetics going on this time of year as well. And that, of course, affects some people. I used to always know when there'd been a crazy night in the pub or something, and then we realized it was a full moon the next day, and that was why everything went a little bit funny. So this week, I had some family members that had come down with the dreaded stay-at-home bug, and little members of the family as well. They seem to be okay with their mindset and a bit of time off school, staying at home, playing the computers and what have you. But then it's cascaded onto more people in the family. So Christmas is cancelled. Officially, Christmas is cancelled yet again for us in our household. That's fine. We're nothing but adaptable creatures. No need to react. But what I am more interested in is the mental fallout that this is having from people. It's different for everybody. My dad says to me a couple of years ago, we're all in a storm, son. We're all in a storm. But the boat in which everybody's sailing in this storm is completely different. You've got people on super yachts doing okay. You've got people on cruisers doing okay. You've got other people hanging on to fucking life rafts or dinghies, and other people that don't have any kind of device to float on, and they're just there paddling, doing the best they can. So this storm that we're all in right now looks very different to a lot of people. If you're jumping on, chuck us up a comment. It'd be great to know that you're there, be able to give you a little shout out. I'm live in the Clubhouse. I'm live on a few channels up and here in Facebook, to friends, private groups. Also, I've got, I believe my nephew's actually watching me on Instagram down here. And we're also throwing out the channels to the little corners of the internet of these big places like LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So have you had enough? Have you had enough of being pushed from pillar to post? How's this affecting your mindset? What kind of skills, tips, and tricks do you have to keep you, your family, your spouses, even your children on point and positive this Christmas time? I'd love to know. Reach out in the comments. We can have a little discussion about it. Clubhouse Rooms is up. The Breaking Bad Love with Terry James. Had enough? Why law of attraction isn't working for you. So we're also going to touch on happiness, law of attraction, bit of mindfulness, spirituality. It all comes under a similar umbrella. So why am I here today? Terry James. I'm a mindset coach and digital entrepreneur. I specialize in high ticket affiliate marketing, and I help people on that journey too. Put out my hands, we take them on the journey. We have a school of marketing for people that want to promote any product or service using this thing that you're watching on. And the biggest thing that halts us up, and something that certainly slowed me up for a few years, is mindset. We learn about things. Does anyone know about The Secret? The Secret I learned about was law of attraction. I watched a thing called The Secret. Open my eyes up. If you've got children, watch it. If you're sometimes overthinking stuff and your mind's being a bit sewed, go and watch it. It's on Netflix. There's actually a Matthew McConaughey film which was 2020 called The Secret as well. So that's more like a motion picture, which talks about what law of attraction is and what it stands for. And it's the power of our thoughts, guys. Thoughts create things. We can manifest stuff through our thinking. We are creative beings in a universe that everything's made up of energy. So we've got the polars, plus, negative. We've got yin and yang. We've got positive and negative. We've got good and bad, light and dark. We've got contrast with everything, but everything is in balance as well. And it has to be. It has to be in balance to create everything to be moving the way it is, for our lives, for us to be being born, for us to be dying. Everything is polarized. So why do we actually pick up on so much more negativity and things like that? Well, I believe it's because we're so positive, because we're alive, because we're breathing, and we've got the light around us. I believe that because there's so much energy and positivity, there has to be an equal opposite. So that's why we tend to have a negative bias towards things, and why negativity sells 20 times more. If I put up a post of something that's really bad that's happened in the news, then more people will actually click onto it. So we've been conditioned and programmed this way. Okay. So with all the negativity about, me personally, I'm talking about, people being ill in the family, people having restriction of movement, and also without anyone actually in the PM saying, in the members of parliament saying, stay home, or the get boosted now. Health Secretary will say something a few days ago about get your kids in line to have this done, and it might then contradict something that was said the week before, or even as much as this morning something was said which was contradictory of what people were told to do last week. I know personally where we have the live music venue and the club, and we have sold out gigs most nights of the week. We're now shut, essentially. So that's really sad. So even last week there was a couple of sold out gigs, and there was like sort of the attendance was down to 50%. Small business and mindset and people's mental health during all of this isn't being addressed enough. I believe that they've just made an announcement that small businesses can put into some sort of grant or subsidy through loss of earnings during all of these restrictions, mandates, or within the crisis. But a bigger crisis is actually being created by people, well, I suppose, battening down the hatches. I don't know that people are doing the best with what the information that they've got. They think they're doing the right thing by not doing certain things, by not seeing certain people. And again, like my old man would say about the storms, it is very much a different boat that anybody's in. The time for now is not to be separated, I believe, whether it be people's belief systems, whether they're for this or against that. I think the time now is for unity and connection, and the more people that can kind of have that connection, be kind to one another. That starts with yourself, by the way, and positivity and light, spreading that out there more so is going to really, really help with mental fallout, people feeling alone, and the mindset that all of this kind of creates. So happiness comes from within us. We are energy beings having an experience. So we do get to choose a lot of stuff. The energy comes from within us. And when happiness starts with us, we've been conditioned and programmed to seek it externally from us in relationships, by being people pleasers, by doing things to make other people happy that sometimes aren't that serving to you. But interesting thought, because actually to be fulfilled, the only way we can have fulfillment is to be servient to other people. Creating other people's happiness and well-being is the only thing that we get real purposeful and passionate fulfillment from. Happiness comes from within each of us. Otherwise, we go without. I love that little saying. If I could go back to being 18 years old, one thing that I would do differently is I would be like, right, positivity, interaction, acting, thinking positively, actually learning about meditations, hypnosis. What is that doing? It's allowing us to go to a place of no thinking, because we've been conditioned to have this illusion of problems, victims programmed by victims in a I can't culture and poor me. This is where a lot of the problem comes from. We get to choose. We get to choose a lot more than people actually give themselves credit for. In your own mindset, we've all got friends that just seem to get on by and things don't seem to bother them. So their self-talk and how they regulate and have those conversations with themselves, they've learned that from somewhere. It might be a mentor, it might have been a book, it might have been a certain family member that's kind of inherited those really positive attributes onto them. But the majority of people, and I was in this loop for a good 30 odd years, that most people are surrounded with negativity, almost looking for the next thing to complain about, unhappy in their job, happy what it gives them, but it can be easy employment, can't it? It's bloody soul destroying, but it can be easy. It takes a strong mindset, doesn't it, to get up, be chasing the clock, don't want to be late for work. People within work that you maybe wouldn't necessarily hang around with, that you have to make allowances for, let them get away with things. A lot of bullying goes on. I mean, even when I was 37, I was victim to corporate bullying because I was happy. Believe it or not, I was too happy, and they basically accused me of being on drugs because they were like, "Why is he so happy?" And I used to take these supplements, and they were like, "Well, he's taking something in the office." And it's like, it's fucking Juice Plus. It's actually Juice Plus. It's a supplement. Crazy people. But remember, when people are pointing the fingers, guys, there's 3 fingers pointing at them. So don't let people get you down too much. You can choose that stuff. So how can we go from 0 to hero? Well, I've got some gifts, and if you need the assist, we're going to give them to you. So I'm a strong believer that when we do less, it is more. And what I'm talking about is thinking. So our mindset, and it does affect me as well at times, when family members want to talk to me, when there's certain things you're seeing in the news, certain narratives being played out, and more to the point, when certain things aren't being said, that really kind of grinds my gears. It creams my corn, because I'm a truth giver, and I'm also a freedom seeker. And I believe the only freedom that we have is freedom of choice, freedom of thought, freedom of choice. And if we're basically prisoners with job titles in our lives, and prisoners to our lives with very, very little freedom of what you can do, what you can think, what you can say, because you don't want to step on anyone else's toes, don't want to upset people, then when you do, you can be ostracized for it and ridiculed, brought down, told you're stupid, these kind of things. And I had all this last week. I had a couple of people that aren't on my socials now. They've been defriended, they've been decategorized, and they've been put into another basket of blocked. But I'd rather keep them, because I actually quite like a debate. But one thing in particular, it really surprised me. Friend of mine that I used to see them in Spain. They used to smoke, drink, go out, party, all these kind of things. Waving to you guys down there on Instagram. Anyone's around on Clubhouse, jump on. Dum. So he basically went, it's dangerous. I was like, keep calm and carry on, because about a week and a half ago, there was talk of people thinking we might be in lockdown for Christmas. Omicron variant doubling daily, and deaths here and this there, and that. But don't believe everything. Seek your own information. Especially, I don't believe that you can always just take one person's word at gospel. I'd say rule of 3. And if you want to, I quite like what the was it the Israelis in Israel, like they have this thing within their wall, within their own society and within their own government. They have what's called the 10th man. So if 9 people agree, the 10th man is obligated through obligation to basically go and seek research to oppose what the other 9. So I've not lived my life based on that rule, but I am someone that if everyone's pointing in one direction and looking, I will kind of look at it. I will actually seek information, the other side of the argument. And so it's good to have people critique you, or people that want to challenge you, because that makes the best content, believe it or not. It really does. But you have to build a certain amount of resilience for when someone's calling you a fucking idiot, for that not to bother you, or for you to start thinking it. Then it goes back to being programmed and conditioned, societal rules, or within family. You want to try and do something different. You say, I'm going to do this. And people are, oh, bless, thinks he's going to be an astronaut. Little does he know in the real life, no. No. But those people that did become astronauts, they probably had a different schooling to do with wealth creation, what's possible. Anything's possible, guys. We've got this infinite intelligence around us with infinite possibilities. So if you can think it, everything that's actually around you right now, including the chair that you're sat on, at some point started as a crazy thought, a crazy idea. And you don't need to have 1,000 crazy thoughts. Sometimes you just need to have 1,000 crazy ways of not to do something, which takes you closer to actually being able to do it. Charles McCormack. Hello. Thank you very much for throwing a comment up on there. Very nice, mate. Don't really understand what he's saying, but thank you very much for your engagement, sir. Nice. So, mindset, super important. And depending on what your philosophical or spiritual religious views are, mindset and mindfulness is actually talked about as being pretty much the same thing across all religions, across all cultures and creeds of people. You're talking about oneness, togetherness, be kind and help people, loving, treating others that you want to be treated yourself. But it starts with treating yourself like that. So all these little things, all these little teasers, and it all comes back down to the law of attraction. Thinking creates. If you think it, you can be it. You can provoke emotion. You can actually use visualization. You can be thinking, oh, I really want, like in the actual documentary, The Secret, they talk about people manifesting like good health for family, like having gratitude. Gratitude is the gateway to joy. And it's so much easier to be thankful. We'll give you an example. If I'm late for a meeting and I'm stressed out and I'm worried and the traffic's late and I'm going to be thinking, I'm going to be late, probably going to be late. Everything after that will spiral into a negative connotation, like stubbing your foot, dropping your keys, there being traffic, not getting a parking spot, and spiral out of control. You can not actually get involved with the traffic of your thoughts when it's doing that. You can just observe, and you could, if you wanted to, you could sit there and go, right, I'm just going to send them in while the red light's on. I know that the right parking space just outside work is going to be there for me. I see it. I'm going to drive. Chances are that kind of stuff happens. If you've had that sort of experience and you always get a car parking spot or get to park right outside your house, let us know, because there is such a powerful motion when you're connected with thought and emotion. You're giving off whatever into the world. Oh, hello, Vicky Rose. Give you a wave down there. You're giving off on good feels, good positivity. So you then get the parking spot. You manage to run into your meeting. And you've got 12 people all sitting there tutting, been waiting for you. You're late. If you walk straight into that meeting, turn around, go, I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry. Most people, you've given them your power straight away, and most people are going to be like tutting. Or if you walk into that meeting and just say, thank you so much for waiting for me, guys. Traffic's a bloody nightmare today, or something like that, or just being grateful for them waiting for you without the admission or handing your power over to someone by saying, oh, I'm sorry, because people apologize too much. That's a much different energy and a much different situation to be in. So I'm very much one for expressing gratitude and joy, being careful with the language that we use, because we have disempowering language and we have empowering language. It's like when you say, I'm trying my best, rather than going, I did my best. Or you can be like, let's look at law of attraction based affirmations, gratitude. We'll say things like affirmations would be, I am wealthy, I am happy, I am this, I am that. But unfortunately, it all comes from a place of lack where you're stood somewhere without those things. So getting used to actually using the language that you're on the road to. So I like to say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am wealthy, rather than saying I am rich. Also, it's really important with these words, and we all start. I started 3.5 years ago with a 90-day sprint, and I had about 200 things that I could read out, and it was, I am abundant, I am worthy, I am this, I am that. And then as time's gone on and I've studied neuro-linguistic programming, my own kind of self-development journey, because let's face it, when you're looking at spirituality or business, self-development, growth, it all then marries to the same thing. Believing in yourself, what you say to yourself, the way you talk to yourself, how you conduct yourself. Act and attract. I love this one. The attraction is in the action, because it's not just enough to say, I am healthy, I am this. You've got to actually take the action and the little painful steps towards it too. So I can't turn around and say, oh, I will want to lose weight and I'm going to do this. And like when people say they stop smoking, the best thing to do is just to make a conscious decision, because 90% is habitual. 10% of any addiction or anything, a lot of it is to do with your thoughts, and it's habitual. So if you start there, you can really start using empowering language to actually really benefit you, whether it be what you want, even influencing other people. If you're sitting there saying to yourself, I'm going to do this, X, Y, and Z, and you're imagining it, you're connecting the feeling. You could even be say, I love quantum questions. And if you like any of my videos, you'll hear me say about quantum questions. So it'd be, well, if I am this, where am I? What would I be doing daily? Who does it affect? How does it make me feel, those people feel? And really attribute things we call kinesthetics, which is emotions, energies, the senses. So it's, this is how our brains work. We don't recognize negativity, and we can't filter that stuff out. So if I turn around and say, don't imagine me wearing a pink hat, you're going to imagine me with a pink hat. If you say, don't imagine a pink elephant in a green mankini suit, you're automatically going to it. So you can use that for your own benefit as well. So this is where I bloody think it's disgusting, the language which is used in mainstream media and news a lot of the time, because it really does install a lot of fear and fear-based languaging, and it's done by design. Absolutely, of course they know what they're doing. TV programs aren't called programs for no reason. Essentially, all of this technology was always available years before we actually get anything rolled out, because it's how intelligence works. It's how like SpaceX programs and all these kind of wonderful innovative tech toys and things, but then they slowly release it out to us so that it can be monetized. So you talk about global warming, I'd say that's profit over people every time. I don't think it's that hard to realize that planetary wise we're in the shit, financially we're in the shit, but some people in their storms are in the shit. So it's really going to be hard for people to connect with themselves, stay spiritual, stay aligned, stay within the remits of whatever it is they believe, apart from the biggest lies, of course, that have been told to all of us, that we're unlovable, that we're unworthy, that we're not good enough, that we can't actually do the things that we think. So one thing also, if I went back to being 18, I would do differently and tell myself so is not tell people what I'm doing or planning to do. Because a lot of times by you saying that and then either like shitting yourself or not doing it or being overwhelmed, other people can kind of laugh and shake heads. And that takes me back nicely to like your friend saying to you, oh, that's dangerous, saying, keep calm, go to work, go to the office, keep living your lives normally, because otherwise what's going to happen is naturally people, small businesses, shops, people that are independent, people that are self-employed will naturally feel the brunt of what's going on in the world right now first. So straight away it affected me, because the club's not going to be open. So we can't be there to help serve people and to spread positive vibes. So that's done, gone. Then going to certain places like pubs, food places, people start taking their bookings away. So that starts affecting people straight away. There's no subsidy for that. Then the staff are going to lose out, and it's a knock-on effect. So then everyone ends up being fucked. So they might have been all right and been like, okay, I'm working a bit, I've got money for rent, I've got this, I've got that. And then all of a sudden, Christmas being the busiest time of year, for tips, for parties, get-togethers, all these kind of things. And all of a sudden, vroom, gone. So that's going to affect people's mindset. So what can we do about it? Well, to a certain level, it is our own responsibility. It's no one's fault. It's our responsibility, though, to be mindful of becoming good coaches to ourselves, loving ourselves with nourishing food and beverages, not sewering ourselves with low vibrational activities like drinking. You know, I could say never have a drink to anyone. It might be a bit ridiculous and a little bit hypocritical of me. However, the way I used to live my life, I wouldn't and couldn't and wouldn't choose to now live like that anymore. But to go and have a party, have a couple of drinks with friends, have a glass, have a bottle of wine, the problem's not a problem unless it's a problem if you see fit. The problem I see fit at the moment is there's a lot of problems, societal problems, there's a lot of problems with mental health, with awareness. And just saying mental health awareness or saying, oh, it's my anxiety, isn't fucking helping at all. Because there'll always be a mental health stigma, because even with friends and family, when someone's struggling, people, it's messy, it's untidy, and it's like, oh, I don't have to deal with this. You all have friends that are a little bit highly strung or a bit of a fucking nightmare, to be fair. It's been mental health reasons that why they are the way they are. You don't know what anyone else's situation is. You don't know how hard it is or not. So, you know, to have that sort of level of understanding is really, really important. It's important to see things from a different perspective. The most powerful tool that you have actually is changing your perspective, because no one's right or wrong about anything. You know, a friend of mine reached out and said I was an idiot for saying that about keep calm, carry on, saying it was dangerous. Well, okay, in his opinion, completely respect that. Okay, it's dangerous. He's saying to me about, thank you very much for your comment up there. Thank you. Dangerous to like this, what's it called? The pressure that you have on the national health system, things like that. But I don't agree with what he's saying. He sees it from a different point of view. I was very surprised, actually. He's very much a lefty, very much kind of hates the Tory government, can't trust anyone in politics. You know, a bit of a free spirit himself. And yeah, for him to be so kind of like on point with the narrative and saying it's dangerous for anyone not to do this or not to do that. And I said, hang on. And I said to him, just before we parted friendship, I said, why don't you fucking neck in, mate? I said, the worst thing anyone can do through any of this is not be understanding to the situation that anyone else is in, because it is different for everybody and everyone has a right of opinion, but also everyone has a right to have a freedom of speech. And if they've got a different angle or the way they see it or something they believe or what they feel, then people should be respecting of that too. But understand one thing, that we're all part of the same problem and solution, depending on how you look at it. So that's why I wanted to talk today about you know, the importance of us actually taking actions of what we want to attract, that we can go from zero to hero in a blink of an eye just by your thinking. There are gifts out there for everybody, and they remain within you. And if you're seeking happiness externally from you, you're not going to seek it. Best to seek it from within, or you're probably going to go without. And it's so important to be truth givers within this, about the situation you're in, even more so within people that are really, really close to you. Because I know, for instance, people can be really, really strong, and then they could say get an illness that they did or didn't think they're going to have, or they'd be jabbed or boosted or not. And everyone's actually in the same boat, because what decisions they've made based upon the best information they had led them to believe or to take certain actions. Now, further on down the line, now people are confused. And that's the problem. People are confused. You know, well, I thought this and now that's happened, or this hasn't actually made any difference, or hasn't allowed me to have any more freedom, or that's when the danger comes in of starting to point fingers and blame. And that is definitely not the way that we should be going with it. It's not down to any group or number of people. Everybody's responsibility is to do the best they can based on the belief systems, but know a bit of awareness around your own belief systems, and don't hurt out against other people to do with their own belief systems. I certainly don't. I actually sometimes feel a little bit sorry and sad for people that are so tightly wound up and controlled, where it's almost like they can't think for themselves anymore. You know, they're so reliant on an app to say you can or can't do this, so reliant on the weather to whether they can go out or they stay in. It's a sad way to be. So why is the law of attraction, essentially right on 30 minutes, why is the law of attraction failing so many people? And I tell you, this is what people don't tell you. It's because people aren't connecting to their emotional body. They're not actually saying these things and embodying it and actually believing it and seeing it and feeling it and throwing in those quantum questions to, where would I be and who would I be with for that to, when that happens? Having the gratitude of the things that you have in your life right now. We're really, really hardwired to focus on what we don't want. And then we're so surprised when that shit turns up. But you can choose. You really can choose. I spent a lot of years, I remember being about 18 years old actually, and thinking to myself that I didn't want to be a messer, that I didn't want to go from job to job, that I wanted to have the girlfriend, I wanted to be physically fit, I wanted to not have the worry of money. And that was all cool. I had good jobs, worked in a pub trade for many, many years. After leaving mechanics, I was a mechanic on cars, did a good 20-year stint in the pub trade. And within that, being a kind person, people talking about problems all the time. But probably the pub's one of the places people are drowned in their sorrows, people losing their inhibition because they want to have fun and have a good time. Unfortunately, though, it's a bit of a false economy because you're going out to live your best life and to have fun. But what you're putting in your body is actually essentially devaluing your life. It's killing you, poisoning you from the inside. So then it happens to anyone. You might pick up a book or a certain person might say something and you'll go, these days it might be a podcast and you'll go, oh, what's this law of attraction stuff or The Secret or mindfulness and spirituality and all these other things that we discover when it was always there. And it's always been there. It's been there for millions of years, millions and thousands of years. It's no secret. So what's different now in society? Well, for society to run, for society to so-called thrive, it needs systems in place, and systems need to be governed. They need to be governed and they need to be adhered to. But sometimes the systems stink and the systems are broken. Now, the systems that we live in at the moment are all based upon Newtonian physics, where Newton basically talks about us being physical matter, meat suits in this clockwork universe called time. And we basically get chewed up to ribbons and spat out at the other end. Check out Clockwork Universe. But whilst Newton was still alive, and this is 300-400 years ago, it was disproved. And the science and the spirituality of it does actually catch up these days, even though up to 70 years ago, proven that if you go to we're all made of atoms and then positively charged, negatively charged, and it's on a cellular level, split the atom down to nothing, and all it is energy, light blinking in and out of existence. So everything's connected in that way. Where we differ is actually that some people have got it quite right and they know that their thoughts create things. Where thoughts go, energy flows, and you can manifest things, you can create situations. We're not in a 3D world at all, never have been. But anyone that spoke out of that Newtonian paradigm was basically called a witch or a soothsayer or a liar. And then years ago, you had the witch trials and things like that. So now naturopaths, healers, spiritual people, gurus, seers, whatever you want to call them, light workers in general, they're not labeled with such harmful things these days, but they still are a major, major minority. I think you find that a lot of people that are connected to the divine or into oneness and mindfulness stuff, it's tended to be because they've had to get through the pain to experience pleasure. And it's actually given them pleasure to be able to let go of thinking, be able to assist and help other people, to have a better understanding of psychology in their bodies, and actually then it not be the norm to have burgers and beers every day and that be like your default setting, as it were. And then you realize, oh shit, drinking some fresh water and actually eating from the ground and washing off these pesticides and actually filtering your water and making sure you get 8 hours sleep and listening to things like delta waves, which will balance your brain waves. Because if I'm thinking too much, I need to focus my thought, my mind's eye, my consciousness somewhere else, so that then I'm just not playing out all these automatic programs in my head, which are sewering me, that are making me stressed. Not eating before going to bed, so that your gut, your biggest brain, you can connect to your intuition, that your hormones and the chemicals that are produced in good gut health actually get dissipated within those REM sleeping cycles, the deep sleep cycles, so that you can actually thrive and heal. And that basically contributes to everything. Okay, law of attraction starts with being grateful for what you do have, and this really is important about having this level of awareness with everything that's going on right now, is to be kind to yourself, how you speak to yourself, being aware of the language that doesn't kind of add up, and being okay with that, but just moving towards something that's more favorable. Not falling in the rat race of fear mongering and being stressed. Essentially stressed. If your body is in dis-ease, as in it's not in ease, it's going to create mutations, it's going to create illnesses. Then things like your core temperature will rise to fight off said bacterials, infections, these kind of things. But if you're getting good supplements, if you're moving your body, if you're getting good breath, if you're getting good sleep, good hydration, good nutrition, well, that's the best defense that you've got as a human optimization kind of, as a specialist kind of saying, these are the basic techniques in human optimization to create a favorable environment, I suppose, for your body to thrive. And that absolutely contributes to your mindset. So if you're having enough, if the law of attraction isn't working for you, then I'd probably say connect to the feeling. If you want to go about healing, connection to the feeling, let go of feelings, being, some people talk a lot about inner child work because our souls are ageless and genderless. However, there's things that happen which we don't understand in our childhood that we do suck up. We suck up and we bury them deep. Some people get on through life and it doesn't affect. Other people, actually, that inner child stuff is actually what holds them back their whole lives. And you find a lot of people in their 40s and 50s doing work to do with child trauma, stuff that do with their parents. It's a sad thing, really, I think, that we all suffer in that way, that we're all very similar in that. Some of the things that make us completely different are some of the things that make us completely the same but different. It's just the situations and scenarios that we've all been in are completely unique for us, but also that means that you've got a level of awesomeness that no one else can actually replicate, because no one else has quite done the things that you've done, had what's said to them, had the things that have happened to them. But then it's down to you to make that conscious decision that everything is a lesson, everything's built strength, tenacity and intensity towards where you do want, rather than where you were and what you don't want. Or you just go around in circles, and again, that you choose. So I'm going to wind it up, about 40 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Well, where is it? It's Christmas Eve tomorrow. What are you up to this Christmas? Have you managed to stick to your best laid plans? Are you spending it on your own? Are you spending it with family? Throw up a hashtag replay. Throw us up a comment where you are viewing from, and that'll be good. If you want to listen whilst on the go, you're very welcome to get into the Breaking Bad Love clubhouse rooms. There's also got opportunities there for Q&As as well, to do the Tell Bretsy, where you can tell me what's going on in your life and let some of our intuition, our sphere and channeling to actually to actually come in and to give insight, foresight, change of perspective, perhaps. So doing life is something that we just have to do on the go, isn't it? we can get good at it later, but we do have to just keep on moving forward like a flowing stream. We do have to keep on moving forward, choosing what we think, choosing what we pick up, choosing what to let go of. And a lot of things is not serving us. And by that, I mean it's not good for us. You know, I like to make a radiator and a drain list. I do it with clients and friends that I speak to, and I say, well, there's certain things that you have to do in your life, and there's certain things that you do that you don't have to. So if you let go of some of those things, give yourself a little bit of love and time, take yourself out on a self date, perhaps. Do something that makes your heart sing, because there's so much crap going on around us that it's hard sometimes, isn't it? It's hard not to listen to that person or be affected by that. But just remember, it all comes from within us, and we do get to choose. And it's super, super powerful and important if you're a parent as well, to be that leading example, to offer a different perspective, little bit of time for ourselves just to do nothing is awesome, by the way. So sometimes less is more. Cool. I'm going to say goodbye to Clubhouse. So leaving Clubhouse. Ta-ta. Bye-bye. Going to say goodbye down here to the Instagram as well. Thank you very much for jumping on. Takes a couple of buttons, that one. And, of course, everybody else. Got to share you. Yeah. Of course, everybody else, thank you very much for jumping on. Have a great Thursday wherever you are in the world. I've been Terry James. You be you. Don't be anyone else, because everyone's been taken already. So you try and be anyone else, you're a fraud. Just be you, man. Just be you. And let the critics and the haters fall where they may. Bring it on. So take care. Speak to you all soon, guys.